Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to the greatest rising podcast in football. My name is Carson, and I am a Battlehawksaholic.
My name is Alex, and I'm a Panthersaholic, not to be confused with Carolina.
I'm Ian, and I'm a Brahmasaholic, and I'm actually very disappointed with that.
Yeah, Ian's ashamed. To hear more about that, make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the episode. But first, we gotta roll that intro. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Footballers Anonymous, the greatest rising podcast in football and the only podcast covering the UFL. It's true. Do not look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had a very productive evening.
We really haven't, guys. It's really late. So, we're just gonna jump right into... We asked you to ask us questions, and we answered them, and we have one question this week. And this is from our guy, Tanner Strickland, on Instagram, okay? And he asks, how do you feel about the Bucs drafting and offseason as a whole? Well, to answer that question, Tanner, you're going to want to make sure to stay tuned for the rest of this episode, which will be broken up into 2 parts, by the way. Roughly the same length as a normal episode. We're just breaking it up because, the UFL deserves to be talked about a lot, but the draft also did happen this week, so that's going to be a very big thing. So we figured it would just be better to break into 2 parts. You can watch it whenever you want. But make sure you stay tuned. We will talk about the Bucs. And if you have any of your own comments, make sure to drop them down below.
Yeah, and that's our questions for the week.
If you have any more comments, make sure to drop them down below.
Now, as for comments
and questions and concerns,
we
need to add a concern segment. We have the questions, the comments. We need to add a concern segment.
All our concerns are what our viewers are concerned about in our lives.
I was thinking what we're concerned about in terms of teams.
I got the comment of the week. The comment of the week is from Gridiron ADN. He said, I think everyone can agree that we hope the Chiefs don't win the draft.
I mean, amen, brother.
Cool. Cool.
Facts. It is just facts. We respect you.
College.
There's not really a whole ton of college knowledge. That's all going to be talked about in the draft. So we won't have a designated Carson's college knowledge segment this week. I know, don't be too sad.
No!
But we are introducing a new segment that we started up last week. We told you guys that we would mock draft anything you asked for, anything, and you guys delivered. So with our first, Ian, what are we calling this segment?
So this segment, guys, is going to be called, drumroll please. These will be edited in because it works. This new segment is going to be called Footballers Anonymous Quick Picks.
Yay!
It was Carson's idea. I have to give credit to him. It was better than what I came up with. So that's what we're calling it. Basically what we're doing is we're taking viewer suggestions of just things that we're going to randomly mock draft.
So this week... Well, Alex, this week, our first thing that we will be mock drafting are breakfast cereals. I figure we each draft a 7-man squad. I feel like that feels right.
7? I was thinking 5.
5? We can do 5. We can do 5.
I don't have ball knowledge in this topic.
Oh, all right. Well, we can give Alex the first overall pick here. We can go Alex, Ian, Carson, and we can do snake draft style until we have rosters of 5.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get flamed because I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, Alex, with the first overall pick in the breakfast cereal draft, you are on the clock.
Okay, how much time do I have?
10 seconds.
It's breakfast cereals, bro.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Bro, I have a draft board set up.
Do you really?
I was working on this today. Yes, I have lists.
That's tough. That's tough.
I have picks. And in case you guys pick someone where I want them, I have a backup pick.
Okay.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Dang it!
Overall Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Dang it!
Yeah.
Nah, that was gonna be my guy. All right, Cinnamon Toast Crunch first overall. Ian?
I got a W. For my first overall pick, I'm going with Honey Nut Cheerios.
Honey Nut. Woo!
Yep,
Okay.
Perfectly balanced breakfast. Good for you. Good for the team morale. Really helps build everyone up. And it's just really a go-to in most scenarios.
Okay. Dang. I was not...
Are we doing snake format?
Yes, we're doing snake format. Dang, my first 2 guys were taken right off the board. That's really unfortunate. All right, so with my first overall pick, I think this is tough. All right, we're taking a guy. He's like a Travis Hunter type character. You know, he's good in a lot of different positions. Solid at most. So we're gonna take with our first overall pick in the cereal draft. We're going to take Rice Krispies.
Valid.
I'm gonna go for that.
And then with our next pick, since we're going in snake format, ooh, man, I think we gotta go. Feel like we gotta go someone a little sweeter, right? You know, to kind of nicely counteract those Rice Krispies. So we're gonna take Lucky Charms.
I like it. That was my next set, man. That was my next
Yep. We're gonna take Lucky Charms.
Very playful, a very playful guy on the field.
Yeah,
he brings
yeah,
a lot of color to the field. He brings a lot of diversity.
He's
Really nice,
magically
really nice.
delicious, you know.
For my next pick, I'm bringing a little bit of spunk, a little bit of competitive spirit. I'm gonna take Frosted Flakes off the board. Give me Tony the Tiger.
Man,
He's coming out there. He's fighting with ferocity. Eye of the Tiger. I think he pairs really nice with Honey Nut Cheerios. You know, Honey Nut Cheerios are kind of like our little like speedy guy, and Tony the Tiger's our big body. So I think it works out really well.
It's a good one.
all right. For my first of my two picks, I'm gonna actually go for a little bit of a motivator here. I think the slogan itself will help carry a little bit. The Reese's Puffs, eat 'em up, eat 'em up, eat 'em
Yeah,
up.
that's a solid choice. Solid choice.
And then I'm gonna take Apple Jacks off the board.
Oh, I was
That's
looking
a
at them. I was
solid
looking
guy.
at them.
That's a solid guy.
Yeah, that's a nice little 2-in-1 action right there. All right, for my next pick for my third overall pick. Ooh, I'm bringing a little bit of crazy to my team. I'm going for Cocoa Puffs.
Okay. I'm not the
Bring-
biggest
bring
fan
that-
of him, but I
Bringing that
respect it.
energy. I'm bringing that energy to my team. My guy's gonna come in. He's gonna go crazy. He's gonna get some good action, get some good energy to the team. You know how it is. When someone's around you is very energetic, most times you can build off that energy, kind of spread it around the group.
Solid. All right, so for my next pick, my third pick, I'm going to take a page out of my guy Phil Coulson's playbook, and I'm going to be taking Captain Crunch. Oops, all berries. Oops, all berries. All right, he kind of goes a little underrated sometimes, but you know he's solid. For my fourth pick, now we're gonna be taking someone who's gone through a couple changes lately. He's kind of gone back to a more retro style of play. For my fourth overall pick, I'm going to take Golden Grams.
That's yeah. You got an old head there, but he's a productive man.
He's productive.
He's productive on the field. Yeah, he's a little bit of old head, but he's productive. He's veteran status for the other guys. I think that's a good.
Yep.
I think that's a good pick. For my fourth pick, let's see. I got a couple options here actually. Hey, I don't know how this guy dropped to the fourth round. This guy's a staple. You see him in most homes. You see him in most hotels. You see him in most places in general. Give me Fruit Loops off the board.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a solid guy.
We're kind of a nice little fourth round pickup right there.
Very solid.
All right, you're gonna question this pick a little bit. It's a little bit of an interesting one. I wanted to get a veteran presence in my locker room and someone that, you know, it's not gonna be all flashy with this guy, but a good defender. Not everyone likes this player, but I'm actually gonna take Raisin Bran off the board.
Oh, dang it! He was gonna be my Mr. Irrelevant.
That was gonna be
And
my
what-
fifth round.
Do I have one more pick now?
You do.
Two.
You have your fifth pick.
And with my fifth pick, I'm taking Josh's Jacks,
Oh,
the Josh Allen cereal.
okay. You know what? I respect it. I
You know
respect
what?
it.
I'm gonna bring a guy to my team that has plenty of athletic capability.
Dang
Hey,
it!
he's pulling from many different faces, you could say.
Dang
Many
it!
different people associated with this guy right here. Give me Wheaties as my
Ah!
fifth pick. I think that might be, other than Raisin Bran, I think that might be the steal of the draft.
All right, so while Wheaties was pretty high on my board, I'm going to take a guy pretty similar to Wheaties. I think he's got less of an identity to him, but really the product overall itself is probably a little better. I'm going to take, with the final pick in the Footballers Anonymous cereal draft, I'm going to take Life.
Oh, that's not what I expected.
Life's just a
Life?
solid option. Life is awesome, bro.
I respect
That
it.
stuff
Comparing
hits-
him to Wheaties,
Nah,
comparing him to
low-key.
Wheaties is kind of wild, but I respect the Life pick.
I think
Not
he's
gonna lie,
better than
I think
Wheaties.
Life is gonna be the bust of the draft.
Nah, Life is. I mean, he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's gonna do stuff.
Hey, I'm gonna give a shout out to some undrafted free agents. Frosted Mini Wheats,
I
Tricks.
wanted him.
Honey Bunches of Oats,
Trick's
Ooh.
one undrafted.
Just some shout outs right there.
My
Fruity
boy,
Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles also went undrafted.
I was thinking about my boy Honeycomb. My boy Honeycomb, man.
Shout out
Yeah,
to UFAs, bro.
yes. Oh man.
Yep, that's gonna be our first FBA quick picks. Grade our drafts in the comments. Let us know who won the draft. We'll be doing these weekly, so just give us your suggestions as well. Give us who won the drafts. Give us each ratings and give us what you want to see next week. We will choose the best one, and the persons that we pick, we'll give them a shout out on the pod.
Shout out Andrew Baird for giving us our cereal pick. All right, and with that, now that we've got our first segments done, we get to talk about the UFL a little bit. The UFL, this was probably one of the best weeks of the UFL. We had some pretty solid games, and then the Brahmas game. Overall, some very good matchups.
Everybody actually had some good high-scoring games, a lot of competitive games. And then there was the Brahmas, who didn't do anything. But other than that, every team had a good game.
The good thing is that it seems like the league is starting to pick up.
Thankfully. I mean, it was pretty exciting overall, and then there was the Brahmas, but really all three of these games were really good watches. I know one of them was definitely like the game of the season, but there were some great watches overall. Not Battlehawks. The Stallions and the Boats game was surprisingly entertaining. Case Cookus did put on a show, even though he lost. Still a very entertaining game to watch.
Shout out Case Cookus.
Shout out Case Cookus for losing to the Boats.
Hey, it's not on him.
Bro didn't have a good game.
He had a good game. What is he supposed to do? What is Case Cookus supposed to do about a 108-yard field goal?
Okay, I will say, Case Cookus did throw a touchdown. It was beautiful. I can't even lie. That was kind of peak. Respect to Case Cookus for that one. And then we had Battlehawks Panthers, which was just so exciting, bro.
This game was, even though we lost, that was just an incredible game, and I'm like,
oh my gosh.
While we're just talking about the games, I just wanted to give everyone an update from our prediction records from last week. I went 0-4. I didn't get a single game right, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome.
Alex and I both
2-2.
went. Yeah, Alex and I both went 2-2.
I think I had the call out of the week with the Roughnecks Brahmas game.
No, you had the call out. You had the call out of the week saying that the Stallions would win by 30.
Well, see, no, but I did. I also said that I can only be right half the time. I also said that the Roughnecks would absolutely shut down the Brahmas offense, which did happen.
You did, and we thought you were crazy for saying it.
Dude, Kellen Mond, I'm so tired of him, man. I'm so tired of Kellen Mond.
I'm so sorry for you.
He got benched in this game, and our backup didn't even do good either. So we just don't have a quarterback in San Antonio. I'm embarrassed of this team. Yeah, I don't even. There's nothing for me to say. I'm not happy with the Brahmas at all.
I'm so sorry.
Maybe next season, don't root for a team based off a single player.
No, I'm gonna switch to the Stallions just for Case Cookus. I'm gonna go where Case Cookus.
Who by the way, we don't even know what's happening with destroying anymore. Donald DeLahaye is like in the abyss right now.
He was listed on our injury report last week. This week he wasn't. Haven't heard anything from San Antonio regarding him. He didn't play this week. Haven't heard anything regarding him. So not sure what's going on at all, in all honesty. But yeah.
Shout out the Brahmas for completely debunking my theory that the offense holds back when destroying is on the squad, because clearly they don't. And they just really do suck.
This game against the Roughnecks really makes me question how they beat DC in week 4. That, like, it had to been a combo of San Antonio's best game and DC's worst game.
So to give you guys a quick just a general score update, for the Battlehawks, they won versus Michigan 27-32. The Renegades lost to the Defenders 37-33. The Stallions lost to the Showboats, who earned their name as the Showboats again because they won 24-20 in the first overtime game of the UFL season. And then the Brahmas definitely played a game against Houston and lost 27-3. So we're gonna go ahead and get
Brahmas hat, bro.
Not gonna lie, I think we should just take the first half of the Ultra Baddies name off. So we just gotta call them the Maz.
The Moss. The Moss.
Doesn't make
The
much
showboats
sense.
have started the trend.
Doesn't make complete sense, but I'm all for it, I guess.
So
No, because that means more. Then they're not giving any more. The fact they're less, they're much less.
yeah. So we're gonna get into everyone's the pinnacle segment of Footballers Anonymous, the Footballers Anonymous power rankings. For those of you who don't know how we do that, every week we rank the teams from best to worst in our own personal opinions, and then we use this thing called math to kind of put them together and create a group list power ranking all the teams. Now, occasionally, because math, sometimes we have ties between teams, in which case we will discuss them on the podcast and vote and decide which one takes this spot. We haven't had any this week, and we've only had one in the season so far because there's only 8 teams, so it usually works out pretty well. But before we get into our decently good teams, we have to talk about our bottom 2 teams, known as the baddies. And coming in as our first baddie at number 7, I'm sorry they're here because they had a great week, but it is the Memphis Showboats.
Crazy.
You know
They-
what though? You
Yeah.
earned your name back, and we respect the win. Don't get blown out by Houston and end up in the 8 spot again, and you'll keep the showboats.
Honestly, I think the that 8 spot is pretty secured by the next team right now. I don't think
It
they're
might
gonna,
They
be.
could come out and win next week.
I don't think they're gonna move out of that spot.
I mean, they play the Stallions next week, so I wouldn't be too sure, but I won't say anything because we said that last week about the boats and then they did
my
it,
God.
so who knows?
If
You
the
don't-
Stallions lose to the showboats and then the Maz back to back,
Yeah, that's our number 18
if they-
ultra baddie, that San Antonio Maz.
yeah,
They suck.
I spoiled it.
They suck. They suck. There's nothing else to say. It's actually just like super disappointing how bad they are.
No,
By
they
far,
27
the worst.
loss.
They really
Honestly,
do just
we
suck.
probably could have put them there. We probably could have put them there last week, but
I did put them there last week, but I was the only one, so they didn't get stayed. They didn't stay down there. But now it's like they're really there. Man, the Brahmas. That was just freaking sad, man. I don't. There's not much to say about them. They just need to fix everything.
wait, you had them there last week after they beat the Defenders?
I'm pretty sure, or maybe it was the week before. I remember I put them at Ultra Baddie at one point. I can check.
Our point total is so sad.
The Maz, the glimmer of hope is that they play the Stallions next week.
No,
I'm gonna say if the Stallions lose to the Boats and the Maz back to back, I say the Boats because they're the showboats now, but before the game they were the Boats. They lose to those 2 teams back to back. I'm putting them at 8 and trying to make them the Ians.
I was wrong. It was actually Alex who had them at Ultra Baddie.
how? That's
Oh,
so
really?
disrespectful to me.
Yeah, and it wasn't last week. It was 2 weeks ago.
No, that makes sense because
That makes entire sense. I was confused when you said last week. I was like, what?
I forgot they won last week. Sorry, this loss was so bad, I just forgot they've actually won games before. But those are your 2 baddies. Now we can talk about some actually more interesting teams who are actually putting something on the field. And up first, we do have the Houston Roughnecks coming in at 6, who destroyed the San Antonio Brahmas in San Antonio. It was embarrassing. Now, the Roughnecks are one of 3 teams who have like really been hovering around the baddie spot, them with the Boats and the Brahmas. They just got lucky that they did so well against San Antonio because the Showboats also had a pretty good week.
I'll say this. I think they're better than the other 2 teams. Like, I think they're just mid.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think their defense is good enough to try to compete with the Panthers. Even I don't want to say that, but we'll have to see what happens. That's just the Panthers and the Stallions. I forgot the Stallions haven't looked good either. The XFL conference is just infinitely better than the USFL conference besides the Maz.
yeah. And the Panthers are kind of being the one lone good team in the USFL side of things.
Yeah, we're good, but I feel like if we get to the championship, I feel like we lose still. But it time will tell. I feel like the Defenders beat us. We do have a good test though. We'll talk about that later.
We will. I will say the Roughnecks are starting a new quarterback. I can't even remember his name because it's like their 3rd one, but he actually did start to look pretty good, so they might have some sort of consistency there. Who knows? But coming in at number 5, we have another USFL team, like Alex was just talking about, the Birmingham Stallions, who lost to the Boats.
Very disappointing season so far, I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, they did have the kick six on them, so that was not great. I don't even think Case Cookis looked that bad. Like
No, you're
all
just a
things
hater.
considered, I'm totally just a hater. But
For
no,
reason. Why are you hating on Case Cookis of all people?
I don't know. I just don't vibe. But I'm not gonna lie. He kind of threw a dime.
See, for everyone, just so everyone knows, Carson didn't watch. What was it, Alex? The 2022 USFL season, was it, or was it 2021? The one that you and me watched. Its first season.
2022 is the first one.
It was the
so
first
it's
season.
2022.
I didn't watch.
Carson didn't watch the 2022 season, so he didn't see Case Cookis the legacy.
No, I didn't.
So I guess I can understand it a little bit.
This
I
is true.
didn't see Case Cookis the
Me and Alex
legacy.
were there. Me and Alex were there for Case Cookis the legacy. Now, granted, it's kind of overshadowed by the Stallions' just overall legacy and going 3 in a row, but Case Cookis 2022 USFL season on the Philadelphia Stars.
Listen,
legacy
all I'll
season.
say, I think the Stallions are done. They're not four-peating.
Look,
No, not at all. No.
I'm
Hey, there's still plenty of weeks left.
to give them credit. I mean, I watched the game. I was open to Case Cookis, and all I saw was a loss to the Boats. Granted, it wasn't entirely on him, but it is still like the Boats. Like, did the
Sure,
kick
but
six
on the
happen?
defense.
But it's the
It's honestly
Boats.
on the defense
If
and
you
the
can't-
kick six.
Okay, I also watched that overtime though, and he should have been able to perform just fine then, and he did not. He lost an overtime shootout to the Memphis Showboats offense, which was a little sad. I'm still keeping an open mind. I'm not just gonna blindly hate. I just need Case Cookis to show me something. I didn't watch the legacy season. I just need him to show me something.
He was good that season.
I believe he was.
You know who else was really good in the USFL that just got low-key screwed over not getting a UFL team was the New Orleans Breakers. They were consistently one of the Stallions' biggest problems, and then they just got removed. We
They
knew
got
that.
booted.
I know. No, because the Breakers were like the only team that got close to beating the Stallions in like any given playoff game. They just could never get like they beat the Stallions multiple times in the regular season. I'm pretty sure they split in the regular season and the 2 seasons, but they couldn't beat them in the playoffs, and there was barely both times, from what I remember.
It is kind of disappointing from the Stallions so far. They should at least be in contention because their conference is so bad, but yikes.
Luckily for them, both
Houston's sneaking up on them.
They're not doing good.
If Houston sneaks up on them like that would be the greatest spring football playoff run after that last Renegades run where they started with like 3 wins and then made it to the championship.
We need a Roughnecks at Panthers Conference Championship game. Trust.
That would low-key be kind of funny. Like, I would still be down for it. It could actually be pretty fun.
Oh yeah, you mentioned the Renegades.
Yeah, so speaking of the Renegades, they played in the game of the year this week, and I know we've been saying that there's been a new game of the year every week, but this really was the game of the year. They lost to the Defenders 37-33 at home. This game was crazy. This was like textbook exciting football. Turnovers left and right, electric offenses. It was awesome.
There's also a comeback involved. Unfortunately, the Renegades were on the losing side of that. They kind of let DC get back into the game, but it was a thriller.
It was actually
Jordan Tamu and Louis Perez.
This is a masterclass in spring football, really.
Oh yeah.
This was, fun fact, it was the greatest comeback in UFL history. 15 points, so it's not actually that much, but the UFL is pretty young. So it was pretty cool to see. It was very exciting. Definitely enjoyed seeing that. Now coming in at number 3, Alex.
Is I almost said the Carolina Panthers, not to be confused with them, the Michigan Panthers. There's a reason why Carolina's on my mind, but we'll talk about that later. Michigan. First of all, do not pull Bryce Perkins again. Don't even try it. You threw in our backup for 1 drive, and it was a pick.
It was
Don't
an
do that
awesome
again.
pick. It was awesome, man.
We lost the Battlehawks. It could have went either way. It wasn't a bad game. We played good. We just ended up coming up short because our second quarter was terrible. Maybe because we threw in our backup quarterback for some reason. I'm a little perturbed about that. But besides that, I mean, we still look good. I'm not too worried about our season. I still think we're the best team in the UFL conference.
USFL.
The USFL conference. Even though the Stallions blew us out. But we'll get another go at them. Playing the Defenders this week, I do want to see how that game goes. That'll be a great gauge.
Man, Bryce Perkins is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Just watch
yeah.
no one talks about him either, but he really is up there. He's just playing consistently good football.
Yeah, and that's honestly what makes him one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not necessarily he's not putting the ball in harm's risk too often. I'm pretty sure he's one of the lowest. He has one of the lowest interception counts for starting quarterbacks. I'm gonna double check myself, but yeah, I don't remember him throwing a ton or stats. I'm trying to use the UFL app, and it's a little bit.
Shout out Samson Nakua during this game, who got a suspension for one game because he slapped a fan.
Oh
It
yeah,
was a silly slap too. He like jumped up and yeah, it was funny.
Yeah,
it's funny, but that's unfortunate.
it was
I
a
guess.
little goofy. You got the defenders this week, man. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good play to lose.
He is being productive on the team, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he is.
He's been great. He's just
slapping fans, apparently.
Just slapping fans. You know how it is.
You know how it is, man.
so. I wanted to pull this up. I'm trying to find I mean, I know he's not first in passing yards because it's Tamu, but he's third in passing yards and where's interceptions? Take me a second. Yeah, he only has 2 interceptions in 5 games. I mean, it's pretty good. Like comparing it to the other top quarterbacks, Tamu has 4, Perez has 3, Coral has 4, Kellen Mond has 2. So Kellen Mond doesn't throws as little picks as Perkins.
It's because
Yeah,
he
the
can't hit
problem is
anyone.
The problem is he doesn't really complete it that much anyway.
Wilkins has 3, even though he played like 3 games.
Yep.
EJ Perry of Memphis has 5. That's part of their problem.
Phew.
Yeah, I mean Perkins has been consistently good. He's got good passing stats. He has some decent rushing stats. He has a pretty good completion percentage. He has the highest completion percentage in the league.
Bryce Perkins,
72.3%.
That's
like
solid.
really good.
Especially with the consistently low completion percentages of UFL quarterbacks. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
him and Perez are miles ahead of everyone else for completion percentage. And Perkins takes a lot less sacks too. I'm like, honestly, Perkins might. I'm inclined to say Perkins has been playing better than any other quarterback so far this year.
It's not an outlandish
He just
thing to say.
doesn't. The only thing that Perez has over him, similar completion percentage. He does pass less than Perez, but he also has almost as many yards as Perez. He's only 70 behind, and he has 30 something less attempts, so less sacks partially because of that. But take it very well. Tamu obviously passes for a lot, but his completion percentage is not there, and he's productive though. It's interesting. Those 3 are definitely above everyone else. It's just a matter of who you take.
Coming in now at number 2, we have the St. Louis Battlehawks, who are 100% back. Let me tell you, now that we got,
I underestimated them going into this week.
now that we had 1 week knowing Duggan would be at quarterback, oh man, we got full on TCU Mac Duggan. Oh, that was so fun to watch.
I should also mention Max Duggan looked really good as well, so he's up there.
He is cooking. I definitely want to see how he keeps going, but man, Ian, I know you were concerned about the run game. He definitely left no doubts on that field. It was awesome to watch. Hakeem Butler being back, he didn't even do that much, but he was huge. He was 2 for 4 with 2 touchdowns. So I know Duggan hit him on a wide open route when a cornerback just tripped and fell. So that was fun. And then his other touchdown was an awesome trick play with wide receiver Blake Jackson. Yeah, Blake Jackson. Ooh, he was a D3 quarterback in college apparently, and he now plays wide receiver for the Battlehawks. But you had to use that in some of your trick plays, and definitely did. And that was what won the game for St. Louis as well. Was that trick play. It was just so awesome to watch. It would have been the best play this week if the kick 6 didn't happen, but it was electric, exciting to watch Max Duggan be back. Definitely can't wait to see more of him. But yeah, right now the Battlehawks are at 2. And of course, coming in at 1, it's no surprise, it is the DC Defenders who...
Amazing comeback.
Wow. Like
The Defenders are a very solid team in every aspect. Their defense kind of let up a little bit against the Renegades, but I think that's a little bit to be expected. The Renegades are a very solid offensive team. The Defenders' offense started also, but they got it together. They came back. That was, a 13-point deficit they were in?
15.
15-point deficit, came back, won 37-33. Both teams played a really good game. The defenders are they're just so solid as a unit.
You know, one guy we haven't talked about like at all is Abram Smith, running back for the Defenders. He is
Oh,
just
yeah.
always productive. He's probably one of the top 3 running backs in the league right now. Dude's a monster.
Now I'm checking the rushing yard leaders for the UFL. Albridge is Ballage is, why did I say Albridge? Kalen Ballage of Arlington's first, but yeah, Abram Smith's in 4th. He's
Dude,
also
honestly, the Brahmas have, but I think Kellen Mond is 5th in passing yards. I think our receiver Anthony McFarland is like 4th in receiving yards, and we have a running back. I think it's like 4th or 5th. But like we just suck. We just suck. Like there's nothing. Like we have the pieces. We're just doing nothing with them. Yeah.
you
Yep.
flipped it. McFarland's the running back. He's a 3rd, and then Harris
Oh.
is the receiver at 4th.
Oopsie.
Still, the Defenders.
Anthony McFarland is such a receiver name to me.
It
Doesn't
kind of
sound like a
does,
running back.
doesn't
It
it?
sounds like a receiver. You say Anthony McFarland, you think receiver, not running back.
It is
Yeah,
late. We apologize.
it's a little late. We're getting there.
Now, it's never too late to make some predictions. We're starting off with the Renegades and the Battlehawks. This is gonna be a good game. It's gonna be an entertaining game. I want to hear what your thoughts on it. I know who Carson's picking.
It is important to note that we did drop one to the Renegades last time we played, so, you know, bear that in mind. However, that was also the game we lost Manny Wilkins as well, so that was a big part in the loss.
I am a very big believer in the Renegades. I really like the Renegades. The Battlehawks proved me wrong this past week and came out with a pretty dominant offense. Both teams actually showed some pretty dominant offense. However, the Battlehawks showed a better defensive performance this week. I don't know if it's against a better team. Our power rankings say otherwise, but this is a tough one for me. I really like both these teams offensively. Me being a receiver, I love offense. Offense is my favorite aspect of the game in all ways. So I love seeing 2 really good offensive going back to back. One scored 32 points, one scoring 33 points. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Battlehawks this week. I think I'm gonna give the Battlehawks the benefit, even though I'm a big believer in the Renegades. Simply because they just proved me wrong last week. They proved that they can still have a steady offense even without Manny Wilkins affecting the run game. Duggan still put up some good running numbers. So I think, I'm going to go with the Battlehawks this week.
This one is in St. Louis, so that they're probably the only team with home field advantage, but that is a big part.
I also am gonna agree. I'm gonna take the Battlehawks in this one. I have been going against the Renegades a little bit in the picks, but I think I'm gonna continue doing that. Not because the Renegades are a bad team; they're definitely top 4. It's just I think the Battlehawks with Duggan are a new threat to really. They're a force to be reckoned with. I assume Carson's taking the Battlehawks.
I am taking the Battlehawks. Yeah, at home, I think we can group up.
So
I love
actually going with the Renegades this week.
I love seeing what we're doing now that we have Hakeem Butler back, and now that we've got Max Duggan in full swing. I'm really excited for it.
Next, we got the Memphis Showboats against the Houston Roughnecks. I'm just gonna go out and say that my pick is gonna be the Houston Roughnecks. I think they're actually continuing to get a little bit better as the weeks go on, and I think they're gonna try to make it competitive with the Stallions for that playoff spot. Maybe the Panthers too, if the Panthers don't play well, but I think the Stallions are more likely to fall into that range. But regardless, I really trust the Roughnecks defense. Not as much their offense, but it's against the Showboats. And I think the Roughnecks will be able to do just fine, kind of keeping the Showboats at a low enough score to outperform them. So, yeah.
I am going to agree with Alex. I'm going to be taking the Roughnecks this week. Both teams are actually coming off pretty solid games. However, I agree with Alex. I think the Roughnecks defense is a lot better than the Showboats defense. And every team has that one game where they randomly go off and win. I'm going to say that the Showboats had that one game against Birmingham. I just think the Roughnecks are a more solid unit. So that's why I'm going to be going with them this week.
For the sake of content, am gonna stick with the boats here. I'm cautious. I know this is definitely an underdog pick, and this is very well probably gonna just come back and bite me in the butt next week. But I am a big believer not a big believer. I'm a cautious believer in the Showboats' new offense. and I think that it could do something against Houston. So cautiously optimistic. I'm picking the Boats.
All right, next we got the Defenders and the Panthers. I am obviously riding with my hometown team, but I can definitely very well see the Defenders coming in and kicking us in the butt. We'll have to see what happens. I want to hear what y'all think.
So this one is going to be...
This is our game of the week.
Yeah, I was about to say that. So this is going to be the game of the week. Pretty big. I kind of like an upset here with Michigan. I think it's at home. And I think if the Defenders are ever going to really drop one, I think this is it. I'm going to take Michigan here.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with the Defenders. I love their defense, and their offense is just as solid for me. Like I said, I think they're just the greatest overall solid unit. And for the sake of content as well, I'm going to go against the grain.
And our last game of the week is the Moz against the Stallions.
You can just put us all in the Stallions and move on.
Stallions here. Yeah, nothing to say. Shout out
Wait,
to
wait,
Stallions.
wait. Hold on. The last time we moved past the Stallions game like this and said there was nothing to say, they lost to the Boat.
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
Alex.
taking the Moz.
What?
I'm taking the Moz.
I'm so sorry for you and disappointed for you, and your faith is so misplaced.
I'm taking the Moz.
Alex, picking the Boats is one thing. Dude, oh my gosh.
I think the Stallions are gonna choke. I think it'll be close because I think it'll be just like the Boats game where it's gonna be like a real close loss and it's not gonna be fully Case Cookis's fault. But Case Cookis isn't gonna play well. It's not gonna be his fault, but he's not gonna play well enough to get them over the struggles that the Stallions are currently having.
The Brahmas are the worst team in the league by
They also beat the Defenders. It's possible.
It doesn't matter.
Listen, I think the Stallions are having a tough time right
less
now.
than 10 points in 3 games this season.
Hey, I respect the
right.
pick.
And you know
It's
what's
wrong,
funny about that?
but
You know what's funny about that? All right, say what you just said again,
Who?
Ian.
We haven't scored more than 10 points in 3 games this season.
Okay, and the Stallions have only scored like 10 more points than you guys.
Yeah, but at least their defense is better than ours. Dude,
Yeah.
there's nothing that you can't... I don't know why you're trying to hype up the Brahmas to me. They're so bad. We have no
I'm not hyping
offensive
up the
presence.
I am
no
not hyping up
defensive
the
presence.
Brahmas. I'm saying the Stallions are booty.
Alex seems to be preaching the Stallions' downfall more than the Brahmas being good, which
Yeah.
I can respect. I don't agree with, but for the sake of content, I'm okay with it.
You gotta take upsets sometimes. Listen, y'all said the same thing. I was crazy about the Houston pick.
Okay, but this is a
Houston did
different
pretty
level of
good.
crazy.
Oh yes, of course. Maybe I just know my Brahmas games.
Yeah, sure, let's go with that.
Last week, totally justifiable. This week, not at all. Not at all. You're crazy.
So for those of you who are curious, we are in the same situation that we are last week, where we all are unanimous on one game and then go 2-1 on all the others. So only one of us can be perfect this week, and there's a good chance that one of us goes 0-4 and the others go 2-2. We don't know.
One day, 1 week, one of us will be perfect.
1 week, one of us will be perfect. There's 4 games every week. It can't be that hard.
Was last week the first week we did predictions?
Yes,
I think so. Officially.
like officially, we kind of mentioned them, but last week was the last time we actually talked about them.
You're right. Okay.
So we're keeping track now. One day, one of us will
Next
get perfect.
Next season we'll have to do full stuff.
Yeah,
100%.
we'll do full week to week and then all season, all that.
Yeah.
Not only that, we're also going to be doing NFL pick'ems. Obviously, this is the UFL, but we will be doing NFL pick'ems as well. That won't be announced on the pod who we're picking for every team, but we'll have a league.
We'll have a league and we'll give updates on who's winning. So we're not done with this episode, but we are officially going to stop this half of it because we wanted to make sure we give the UFL their due diligence before we talk about the NFL. So we're going to go ahead and stop our recording and start it again. And it'll essentially be a part 2 of the episode. You can go ahead and watch this in 1 sitting, 2 sittings, whatever you want to do. We got so much content for you this week. So, make sure you stick around. But, until we see you in part 2, Footballers Anonymous, or Footballer Nation, let's ride into part 2.